Okay, so I'm Jeremy Sean. I'm the CEO of Briceno Inc. In Briceno, we are the ways that I like to describe ourselves is a big app, small team consulting company. So we're building big application in the ads business, IoT, HR, and lately in the healthcare business, big video platforms for healthcare surgeons and so on. So we have been building big applications on the cloud and helping our client to do so. And we provide two services, which is architecture as a service and not PowerPoint architecture. What I like to call is coder architecture. Yeah, so it's very technical and it's all about collapsing the complexity. That is a little bit my obsession about everything. And then we also provide AI optimization and modernization because we have modernized ourselves over the last couple of years. And that is where the AI pack comes from. So that is the tool that we're providing here, which is fully open source and allows us to create our custom agents to be very efficient. So what is AI pack? So AI pack is a way to run and build and share custom agents and knowledge and MCPs. So right now, the first version is really focusing on agent and knowledge because you can pack one or more agents inside a pack and you can pack knowledge as well. And then we're working on adding MCPs. So the AI pack runtime will be an MCP client as well as an MCP server. Our vision is to be the simplest way to build a custom MCP service. The way here that the AI pack works is first is all about, and again, that's my obsession about everything, is collapsing complexity. I don't want to become too philosophical, but for me, software is one of the only disciplines where we can collapse complexity by order of magnitudes. Anything else, if we get 10% better in complexity, we are the king of the hill. Finance, buildings and all construction and so on. But in software, if we take the wrong take, complexity kind of get exponential. If we get the right thing, it can collapse very quickly. So by having something which is extremely simple and allows us to do custom agent in a simple way, it does allow us to do much more. Yeah, so that is the vision of the AI pack runtime, less than 20 megabytes, zero dependencies, and all included. So can run on device and on the cloud in a very efficient way. And then the other aspect as well is efficiency. And so it's built in Rust. So the runtime is very C++ fast, it's memory safe, but also is built in for concurrency. And we're going to see that. And this kind of changed a little bit the nature of how we can use AI, because with models, for example, like Flash 2.5, yeah, Gemini, and in a way 4.0 mini, yeah, the speed of AI and the cost has been reduced dramatically by order of magnitudes. And so now we can put agentic workflows where we wouldn't have put them otherwise. So this is one thing here. When we have the right tools, we can use AI in ways that we wouldn't have used it before. And for our experience, for example, something like Flash 2.5, moreover, when you can control the thinking budgets, which will allow, the cost is close to zero for many use cases. Obviously, if you have million users and you use it, cost will go a little bit high, but it's very, very cost effective. So that is a goal of AI Pack, is to be able to reuse the things. And it's fully multi-AI, can talk to any model from OpenAI, Anthropic, and everything. And we use it in our own. So for example, we have a Pro Coder AI Pack, which allows us to do production coding rather than vibe coding. I don't want to go too deep into this webinar here. And one of the other things as well is that it's fully open source, and it's MIT and Apache, and it's not one of those kind of, catch me if you can open source license. It's, you can take it, you can fork it, everything is open source. The labs, so all the code that I'm going to show today, we're going to do the demo first, and then we'll go to the code as people want. But all of the code and everything is mostly, it's all open source, MIT Apache license. So the goal here is to really enable people to build the things. And then Briceno will help companies to build custom AI packs. So that is a little bit the model, which I think is a big win-win for everybody. And so today here, what we're going to do is we're going to do the agentic knowledge optimization. And that is something which is extremely useful in many industries. So for example, for coding, when we code our products and everything in Rust, for example. So now, for example, AI Pack is about 27, 30K line of code. we code about 40% to 50% of this code is generated by AI. But it's not generated like vibe coding and you code and you pray and you do your YouTube videos and then you don't play with it anymore. It's really high control coding. I'm a little bit OCD with code, and we have a way here of really controlling what the AI does, but the AI still produces a lot. And so that had changed a little bit our ways that we work with AI. And one of the ways here is there's a lot of knowledge that is or has been and is still optimized to work on HTML. And the HTML is an interface for human, which is very optimized for human. We have colors, we have images, there's things that we can click and we mouse over and everything. It's very fun. But for AI, while it can understand it, it's kind of a big waste because the time you try to understand, like for example, in code, colors, doesn't really matter. And so there's a lot of noise that there is in this HTML content that are not noise for human, but they are noise for the machines. And so noise is a relative thing, yes? So for human, we like to see colors. For the machine, it's completely useless, and it adds a lot of markers, and then you get hallucination, you miss stuff, and so on. So if you can reduce content, you get a much higher quality response. You can do that for code. You can do that for example, we work with some of our healthcare clients, where for regulatory processes, if you can take some complex documents that have been built for HTML, and PDF is kind of another story, but sometimes there's good PDF to HTML, but then you want to reduce it and augment it to the next level. You have great content there, but not good way of putting it into the AI. So this is what we're going to do today. And in fact, what we're going to do is we're going to take a real use case, which is, we're going to take two use cases actually. One, which is an API documentation, pretty specific about Web3 blockchain with Alchemy. And then we have another demo that we're going to do later, which is going to be about the ChatGPT 4.1 prompting guide, which is again, is all HTML. If you try to find a Markdown, you wouldn't really find it because actually the source is notebooks kind of things. So it gets very complicated. You can put it, the HTML, in the AI, but again, it's kind of a waste because when you can reduce by order of magnitude from a 150 megs to below a meg, now the dynamics change, because now you can pass everything into the prompt. And so that is where we're going to see today. So if you have any question, feel free to raise your hand. We are a small group, so I want to make that as interactive as possible. So if you have any question or things, feel free to raise your hand. I will unmute the microphone. So let's go to the demo now. And so the first thing here is, so AI Pack, it's a runtime. You can install it. It's a command line. You can install it in any operating system. And then is a command line. It's 15 megabytes, 15 to 20 megabytes. So it's nothing. And then you just need your API keys. So we don't provide the model, obviously. So you connect to your API keys. And then you can run agents, which is either packs or just agent on your file. And so that is what we're going to do today. We're just going to run the agent on our file system. And here I started the demo over there. And the goal here is to see how we can take complex site and simplify it with just these little agents. And so the site that we're going to optimize for now is this one. So it's Alchemy. And then again, this is a blockchain and Web3 kind of company. And they have very deep APIs because blockchain is not that simple. And the problem is that they are all in HTML. So we can see here that they are very friendly for human. Our brain likes to parse colors. But these things here, for example, which is nice for human because it even has a line numbers and so on, is actually very inefficient for the machines. And so if we were going to give that page into the AI, that page is actually 1.5 megabytes. But then when we reduce it, we can reduce it to 6.4 kilobytes on this specific example. And that is because a couple of things is one is because all of these tags here that we see there, they are extremely heavy on the Markdown. Moreover, Alchemy, and that is, a valid approach. It's not a bad approach. is they inline all the text and the styles. And that is their strategy. So in fact, all their CSS styles is inline on every pages. So again, you can pass that to AI, but it's such a waste. And then we get bad quality response. So the goal here is to say, how can we simplify that? And one of the things is say, well, okay, we just take the HTML and we simplify and we remove the style attribute. Okay, but that wouldn't remove the other things. So in fact, we have a 3-step approach. And the 3-step approach is the following. One is we are going to start by slimming the HTML. So there's a lot of information in the HTML that are not needed, and we can slim it. For that, we don't need agents. We can slim that in a very effective way. The next one is we're going to transform it into a Markdown. And that, again, the Markdown effect is that it's very optimum for many types of content to send Markdown over HTML. Now, if you have an HTML extremely concise and extremely semantic in a way, you can reach the same content to noise ratio for the AI, but that would take a lot of work. And so often, what is more efficient is you first slim your HTML, then you put it to Markdown, but then, and we're going to see that, as we're going to put it to Markdown, there's going to be still noise into this Markdown, and there are things that are going to be missed. And that is where the magic happens with AI, and especially with cheap and fast AI, like Flash 2.5 or GPT 4.1 mini, is because now we can give this Markdown, which is not perfect, which is missing some things, and we're going to see that. And then we have our agentic step. And that is where it's become powerful here, because we can clean up and augment back the content with the missing information. And then the output of that, the things that will come out of all of this, now we can use it into our prompt with other custom agents of AI Pack, or with Cursor, or with any Gemini or ChatGPT, or whatever tools you are using in AI. So that is a little bit the vision of AI Pack, is that there's all of these opportunities of using custom agents to optimize content or even interaction or whatever, and then you can plug them into other AI workflows. Yeah. So this is going to be the goal here. So for that, we have developed a little things. And so our first use case is going to take this documentation here to try to navigate. And I'm just going to do the top-down kind of demo. It's kind of a little bit geeky because it's command line, but a web UI could be done as well. It's extremely easy. And the goal here is to show the simplicity of each agent and each of the steps. So the first one we are going to run is this one, the slim agent. So an agent in AI Pack is a .aip, and it's a multi-stage Markdown file. And I'm going to explain later a little bit what it is. In these agents, in this set of agents, okay, they are inside a folder. I can have them in the root, it doesn't matter. There's a convention, just the way they are coded is to have a config.json. This one is the default, and we give the base URL, the first page we want to go. The filter, we want only the things that is below /docs, and then the max page. Okay, so that is very simple. And then we can give other config if we want. So right now, the default one is the Alchemy one. So now I'm going to, so you have to make sure that you have your API keys. One way to do it, or to check it with AI Pack, is you do AIP check keys. So when you install AI Pack, the command line is AIP, and then you can do a check keys. Today, it's a command line tool. We are adding MCP to AI Pack. So AI Pack, again, will be an MCP client. It can call MCPs, or can be a MCP server where you can actually integrate it with MCPs. And so this one here is we're going to check, and all the keys are here. So I have them in the environment. I don't print them out as part of this command line, but now we know that we have that. So now that we have that in the terminal, we're going to do AIP run. And then an agent can be anywhere in the file system. So right now, I just organize them under AKO agents, to be clear. And I'm going to say AKO agents, and then I'm going to call the slim. Okay. So what the slim is going to do is going to go, there's a logic over there, and it's going to create the first three folders. We'll download the originals, it will slim them down, and it will create the raw Markdown. So if we can see that, there's only 10 files because I want to do the demo fast. And then later, at the end, we're going to do the 100 files. And we're going to see how we can go from 173 megabytes, I think, to below 1 mega. And so this one is downloaded all of these guys. And then we had the slim, and then we have the raw. So for example, if we get this one, it's very noisy. It's going to be extremely noisy. There's a lot of tag, link scripts, and all these kind of things. Again, we don't want to do that. The first, what I will call mechanic step, which is just deterministic, just logic, is a slimming down. So that is built into the AI Pack runtime. So the nice thing is there's a lot of APIs in AI Pack. So if you go to AI Pack, you can go to the documentation, and you have all of these APIs. And they are very built for AI kind of use cases. So you can parse JSON, download HTML, select HTML, and all this kind of fancy stuff. So that is a way here that we have a function in the AI Pack which just slims the thing. And so now we go like that, and it is much smaller and much cleaner. We still have some noise because we don't want at this stage to remove all of the metadata. So there's still some of this kind of things. And we can see here that in classes, people are putting crazy stuff, but that's life. And then we have the raw guys, which is now is a Markdown. And so if we go, and I'm going to show this one here, because I know that this one has some code over there. And so we see that he has done the Markdown. The Markdown is okay, so it has all the navigation that we can see. And then it has the, if I go down, it has a code. But the code here has the line numbers. And again, if we pass that to AI, and in fact, we're going to see with our example, AI will be able to kind of dissociate the two. The problem is, and for us, we do production coding with AI, and coding or anything else. If you already have a big prompt, because you have your code, you have your instruction, you grounded your AI, and then you pass that, well, the AI is going to have to, cycle on this guy and think that. And there's opportunity of forgetting other stuff because he spent time on doing that. So we have to clean this up. And this is where the agentic kind of things part comes in. So in fact, if we go here, I have a little cool utility, which is this one. And so that is not AI Pack, it's just a utility that I wrote to see the number of files and the total kind of size over there. So we can see that we went from the original download, 10 files that we say, 18 megabytes. When we slim them, we take them down to 550 kilobytes. So this is kilobytes now. And then when we do Markdown, we are 152. But now we have these kind of things over there. And so that is where, now we can, I'm not going to save the reformatting. We're going to do an AI Pack. So we quit this one. So an AI Pack you can run in a one shot, in a single shot kind of things, or you can run it as replay. And this is what we use a lot. For example, for production coding, we have our procoder, we use a file as a prompt, and then we click replay, and the thing will do the next prompt that we give it. So it's a very iterative way of running agents. So now we're going to do this one, which is going to be the augment. So we're going to do AIP, run, augment, AKO, agent, augment. You can do .aip or just like that, it works as well. And now we're running that. And now we are seeing here that it's actually sending 612 at a time. So if we go to the little utility here, we're going to see that the files are getting solved right now because we are sending, this agent is saying, okay, give me all the list of the files, and then it's queuing them 6 at a time, and then it sends them to the AI. So we see that now all of these these content files, these raw Markdown files get resolved. And then boom, in few seconds, we have everything. And that, if I go there, the reason why the augment is like that is because this is a multi-stage of an agent. So an agent is one Markdown files, and it has some configuration. So option is optional, but you can configure it. So here I say, hey, I want this agent, no matter what model is configured in AI Pack, I want to use this one anyway. And I want the input concurrency, no matter what is configured above. And then we have the before all, which is going to do the list and everything. So those are Lua blocks. And so Lua allows us to be extremely efficient and extremely safe. It's fully sandbox in a way. And so there's a long list of APIs. And the nice thing here, it's run within the Rust or C++, the runtime, the binary runtime, which is extremely efficient. And so now we have a stage here, which is a before all, which is pretty advanced. And then for each input, we have a data stage, which is processing the data. And then the cool thing is you can have system instructions and whatever stage you want. And that is where we have our prompt, which is just a Markdown file with some handlebars. So that is a standard for templating notation. So now the complexity of this augment agent is below 98 line of codes. In fact, there's a little bit, there's a 15 or 20 line of code over there for this function here that parse the JSON. And then that's it. We had concurrency built in. He worked on the 12. Everything was done in parallel. So that is actually what we think is the power of AI Pack. It's one of the power of AI Pack. So now that we have that, we can see that we went from 18 megabytes and we went for 50 kilobytes, 152, and then the 59 here. So we are like by order of magnitudes. I think it's 200 or something like that. And then if we look at the files, so the next thing is if you look at the files that I was showing before, this one is the one I know, with the line numbers and everything. So this, again, we can send it, but it's not optimized. But let's look at what the Agentic step gave us. If we go look at the same files. Now, what we're going to notice here first is the whole navigation. So here there's all navigation, get started and everything. All of that is redundant. But because I could do my custom agents, I asked my custom agent, hey, remove navigations when you find it. Back in the days, we would have to code that by hand. It would have been very heavy and things. And that is where AI is magic. But it's not because AI is magic that we shouldn't do any if else ever. So there's a good mix and match here where we can maximize the value of both, the deterministic and the agentic. And so in a way here, we have the totals, the new CPU. And so now you have a clean Markdown. And if we go and look at the code, it's super clean. We have the things, it even have the indentation, it removes the line numbers. When it's shared, kind of recognized it. And then this is a JSON, it recognizes it. And then this one, and it does all the things pretty nicely. And now the nice things about that is because it's a custom agent and it's not like one of these drag and drop. I call them drag and trust, kind of solutions. We can, it's a little bit more work, granted. But now we can say, well, actually in the augment, this is the thing I've learned. When I was preparing the demo, I made this prompt. You need to clean the Markdown, make it well structured, remove site navigation section, just page content will be stuff. This one here, because somehow now LLMs use star for bullet point, which I don't like. And then I give those kind of things. Now, the nice things about this approach is, again, because the Agentic is a runtime and it's not one of these drag and trust kind of things. Now, we can iterate very quickly, and that is the way I built it. I didn't iterate on everything. I iterate on max page 1, and then I do run, I see what I have. And when I'm happy, and then I run on more. So that is one thing, is when we collapse the complexity of what it takes to create a custom agent, then it opens new opportunities. This is a little bit the things that goes behind. Now, the cool thing about that is, again, we went from, if we go to this one, we went from 18 megabytes to 59 kilobytes, which is a lot. I will do the math later, but that is a huge ratio. And now we can pass that into a command line. So in fact, first I wanted to stop a little bit. If there's any question, please feel free to raise a hand. We are a small group, so I want to make that very interactive. Any questions so far, or everything good? Okay, so I'm going to assume everything is good. And I don't know if I'm missing. Okay, everything good. Thank you, guys. Now, one of the things here that we can go is to say, hey, now there's a couple of ways where we can do the demo. So the next one here, there's a standard, a pseudo standard, which is not very well defined, which is, the name is LLMs.txt, which is like robot.txt. So if you go there, they explain a little bit the thing. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know, actually. They keep it quite open. There's not a strong kind of spec for it. But here's what I did. And this is the magic of Agentic when we put it to work, yes, and we control it. I just took this, copied this guy. I didn't even copy the example. I just took that, I copied that, and I created my own agents. Because again, the cost of creating an agent is so low now that I can create it. So I say, well, options, okay, this one, I want to use that. Otherwise, it will default to the config to ML. And then we have a AI pack -base at home on the home directory, which has also the fallback of everybody if it's not defined. But here we can define it. And then here I reuse the Lua kind of thing. So I can have my code over there. I load the files. So I list all the files. Then I have all the files. I have my final Markdown directory. And then I have my system prompt. I put system. I say, hey, you're an agent staff. I want there, copy paste their best practices over there. I like to put it in Markdown block. I mean, it doesn't have to be. And then I put my instruction. So the nice thing with AI Pack is one thing when you work with AI is we have to have the control of what is a system and what is instruction. And there's a science and there's an art to it. And so the goal of AI Pack is not to tell you which one to use, but then you can experiment and put anything you want. Yeah? So you can put multiple systems, you can put multiple instructions. If you can put multiple systems in models, for example, like Claude, Anthropic, they don't support multiple systems, but we normalize it for Claude. We concatenate it to put the preamble. So everything is made to really be multi-AI. And then I have the instruction over there, and then I just go through each of the files. So I say, hey, here's the files, here's the file content and everything. And then I get the response. This is one of the things here, which is actually shows that AI Pack is for AI, because AI, sometimes when you ask and you give Markdown, even if you ask, don't give me Markdown back, give me the content of the file, you get smarty, and then it put kind of a tag on top, a Markdown code block, which is fine. So we have a function for that, which is outer block, content, or row. So if you start with a tick, 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 it will take the content only. If it's not, that will be the content. And that saves so much pain. So there's a lot of pain points sometimes that with the smart APIs, you can save. And then we save it. So now let's go and see it here, how it runs. We go there, we quit this guy, and we're going to do AI Pack, run, AKO, agents, LLMS, and then boom. So that will be sending. So here in this case, we are actually taking the whole files and we are sending everything. Because now actually we reduce the things in a relatively small size. And so that is the thing is, like for me, software is all about order of magnitudes. When we save 2x or things, it doesn't really change, make a big one. But when we save 100x or 200x, then it changes. So now we can change everything. And then that's it. So in AI Pack, I give you quite a bit of information actually in the print, and sometimes you can have it also in the API, where I can say, we're telling you which AI model you have been using. Sometimes, the one you give has another one over there. And then you have the duration here, which is 34 seconds. The price, so we have price for most of the major stuff. So we compute the price. So we have a price database inside the binary. And then the prompt token, the completion, we show the caching if they were caching. And here we show the reasoning as well. So everything has been normalized and everything has been, computed. So we see that this one just costed about 3 cents. No big deal. The prompt tokens were actually relatively low. We're 35,000. That is kind of low kind of token, and it created things. And so now if we go and see the files over there, final, this is that, and then that's it. So in this case, we have this element. Now, the cool thing about that is, honestly, for me, I think this one, and sometimes to see it better, is good to have Markdown, but you need to put it TXT in your site. But actually, it did a better thing than the last time. So it added a little bit of description for each one of them. It's good. But again, because we have the control of our LLMS agent, we can say, here, I was lazy. I just copy-paste the things, but we can be very precise about how we want things. And then things kind of become very interesting here from there. So I'm going to put it back to TXT, and that you could put that in the things, and all of the paths will be relative. So if you put that on your website, it will actually work. Yeah, this path will work. Now, what I will add to the AI, I wouldn't even cut it myself. I will say, hey, can you add .md? Yeah, because everything is MD files. So I will ask AI to say, hey, for all the links, add MD. And AI is very good at that. So again, a lot of saving here and a lot of values that we can have. Now, what we can do is we have main as well. So we could run the main agents that will do all of this. So here I just put it on the stage output. I could have put it in the data. So data is input, is just what comes after input. Input is what you give in the command line. And then you have data, you have your prompt, and then you have output. So output allows you to return something that will be displayed over there. And then here I'm building my inputs, and then I'm going to run all of these kind of guys. So now, for example, what we can say is say, hey, what about running this one here to download the cookbook? And it's the same thing. The cookbook, if you go there, I have it there. It's a nice HTML, and it's OpenAI. And again, these companies are super smart. So you say, well, I want to find the Markdown version, because again, HTML has a lot of noise. Well, if you go and do the Markdown version of this, I couldn't find. What I could find is Python notebooks, which is good luck to send that to, and you don't want AI to start running stuff. So in fact, the web things is perfect. So what I've done here is we can do another kind of demo, which is AIP run, and we're going to run the main now. So AKO agents. So when there's a main, you don't need, a main is like index in a way. You don't need to give the whole thing. And that is the beginning of a pack. Yes, because this folder can become a pack if I want. And so I do a run AKO agent and -i. So that is the way we pass an input. And -i is to pass a string. -f, you can put one or more multiple files, but we're going to pass the string, which is going to be the path of the config cookbook. And now, if I press that, it's always scary, boom, started to create my cookbook. I have all my thing, and then it started to send to AI. And if I go there and I do cookbook OpenAI, boom, and I see the file here. So again, 22 megabytes. I reduce the ratio is a little bit less on this particular website, but it's still big, 301 kilobytes. And then it's going to start doing the stuff. So here it takes a little bit more time for whatever reason, but now it's picking up speed, and then you can see each of your response. Now, you could even store all of this response into some local files if you wanted, and such as you can know the total cost if you wanted. So we're going to wait this one here, 6 files. And then we're going to do another run here, which is going to be the big one for the alchemy, for the whole, at least 100 files. So here I have the 10 files, and now it's going to create the LLM TX. I think that is the step here. It's still rendering over there. There were a question here, I don't have it yet. This is it possible to use AI Pack as a service rather than things? And yes, this is something that we are going to add very soon, such as you can actually, we're going to turn it into a MCP service, such as you can call it as RPC, or you can plug it into an RPC other tool. Yeah, so the goal will be to be able to make any of your agents to be able to be MCP collaborators in a way. Let me know, Roberto, if that answered your question. Okay, good. Thanks, Roberto. And right now you can already do it in a way in a command line. So we have a -f, a -s. So when you do a -s, it's single shot. So we're going to do that actually now. So let's go. So I just give the folder, and again, it goes to main directly. That is the beginning of the pack story here. And I do a -s, which is a little bit, Roberto, what you were talking about is you could call it in, you can wire that into a service. It's not HTTP callable yet, and we're going to make HTTP callable later. That will go. And so now it will redo the other guys, but then it won't redo the final. That is the thing. And then if we go there, we're going to, so we see these guys going up. Yeah, so we are 99 and 90 things, 100 meg, 2 meg. So here we definitely do not want to send that. We could send that, but kind of a big waste. And sorry, and I am on the side here. Let me move a little bit. We could send that, but that would be a big waste. We could send the 5 meg, but that would still be a waste. And now this is the final row, which is going to be very close. The final row is this one, 2.2 meg, but he had to do some extra thinking. So what we are doing here is we are cleaning up and preempting the extra thinking, such as when we give it to our workflow, it doesn't have to do this thinking twice. Yeah, so that is basically what we're doing. Any question right now? If anybody raise a hand, I can open the mic or text. I think I have another chat here. Okay, good. So if you have any Q&A or any question over there, you can feel free to ask. And then what we're doing is that we're almost there. And then the cool thing I'm going to show you is how we can use, and this is going to get a little bit geeky, but how we can use Procoder, which is a pack that we are maintaining and we're using daily, even more than daily if it's possible. And that allows us to do coding. And because that is an API doc, in AI Pack, there is a concept of, in Procoder, there is a concept of knowledge globs. And so now we can put that in the knowledge glob of Procoder because the file is small. And then we can ask to say, hey, can you code a blockchain contract or whatever, which I don't even understand what those things. But then it will actually generate some code with this specific knowledge. So it's all about how can we use specific knowledge. AI is great for common knowledge in a way, and what is the effective way of having specific knowledge? Yeah. So that's it. Yeah. So we have the 101 here, and we went from 100. It's even better than my marketing slide. We went from 180 meg almost, 180 meg to 792 kilobytes. That's become interesting now, because now here's a cool thing we can do. This is an 01 here. It's going to get more geeky again. Sorry about that, but it's going to be cool because now what I can do is you can do an AI pack install pro at Coder. So the goal here is AIPack.ai will become a repository like NPM, like Docker. You will be able to push your own packs. And right now I have my own pack, which is Procoder and Pro Rust 10x. We do a lot of coding in Rust 10x and so on. And we use Procoder all the time. And then this is to validate the model in a way. And so those are published manually in a way. But you can actually install any pack. And we're going to show you, actually, I can show you before that. One thing here that we can do is to say, let's say that we want to do a pack of these AKO agents. Okay. So you do AIP pack AKO agents, and then just a folder. Then you press enter. Then you will say, okay, I created a pack to ML. Go there. Cool demo. This is a namespace. So that will be your org or your name. Yes. And that will be, the name of the pack name. AKO is good. 10 is good. Press Y, enter, boom. I have the cool demo AKO things.ai pack, which is a zip file basically with a pack to ML. Now, later I will allow you to deploy that in AIPack.ai. Right now I deploy my own just to validate the model and so on. But today, already this, you can send it to your team. Yeah? You can send the AIPack.ai to your team. You can put it in a HTTPS or on GitHub and whatever, and people can install these packs. And that will install it into the base here. So inside the base, which is your home directory. So this is inside jeremysean.ai pack base, it's like .git and so on. You have install, and then that will install it somewhere over there. Yeah. So if I were going to, I can do that actually. AI pack install, cool guy, boom. And if I go there, I should have the cool demo and the pack there. And now the way that I will run that, I will do AI pack. We're not going to run it because I want to do the Procoder, but we'll say AI pack cool demo at AKO, and then I could just do that, and it will do the main, or I just do slim if I just wanted to do the slim, and then it will do the slim. And if you put that in HTTPS, someone can do a AKO, AIP install HTTPS, my stuff, then cool demo AIP, AI pack. So we think, but we're obviously biased, but it's not because we're biased that we're wrong, that is super powerful, because you can work on yourself, you can run the stuff. And the goal here, to go back to your question, Roberto, is that will allow us later to be able to run it in the cloud. So you can even, on AIPack.ai, you can drag and drop it and say, I want to schedule that every week or every day or whatever. Or you can run it in your own cloud or in your own Docker. So we'll probably do some demos on how to deploy AI packs on the cloud as Lambdas, for example. And because it's so small, it's very efficient to be in a Lambda or something like that. Okay, so now that we have done that, so again, what we have done here is we took this big site, which is very good for human, but not efficient for machine because machines doesn't like colors and line numbers. It doesn't add any value. We ran the agents here, the main, and that run all of these agents, the slim, the augment, and the LLMS for the thing. And that created us for 100 file website, 180 megs, we got this guy. Now, the cool thing here is if we go, and again, you don't have to use Procoder to optimize your content. Yeah, that can work for anything. Because now you can use this content that we have created here on Final, you can use it to put it on your site with your LLMs.txt, or you can use it to concatenate it and give it into your ChatGPT or whatever. Yeah, so you can use other AI tools, or for cursor as rules or whatever you want. Now, one thing that we're going to do is we're going to do AI pack run pro at coder. So just before we installed the pro at coder, now we're going to run this guy. And so the pro as coder, and again, it's a pack that I installed, decided that is just the agent, yeah, that the pro coders decided. So AI pack doesn't know about that. Decided where I'm going to create my prompt as a file. So it's not a chat box or a terminal kind of thing. And I'm going to create there this place. And then below the equal is going to be the answer of the AI. And above the equal is going to be the prompt. Now, in AI pack, we have the concept of parametrics prompts. It's extremely simple for people to develop an agent to say in the prompt of the user, there's a parametric block, which is this kind of meta guy. So now the agents that I built, the procoder, say, hey, I want the concept of knowledge globes. And this is where I put my pro roast 10x or whatever. Now, the cool thing about that is, remember these files that we did, Alchemy? Boom, take it, put it there, and we are going to do a star.md. So now we're going to take all of this and we're going to say, hey, this is knowledge now. This is a base D if I wanted it to write. Right now, we're not going to write. This is context globes if I wanted to give my code. Right now, we don't need that. Structure globes is for the list of files. This is something very powerful of procoders that use the concurrency of AI pack. So this way I can have it work on multiple source code files at the same time in concurrent mode. So that is kind of an advanced mode, but it's a game changer. I can have model aliases. So in the case of AI pack, we support the concept of model alias. So for me, I have GPT, this one, and GPro and Claude, and then sometimes I have the fast. Yeah. And so we're going to put the GPro here. I like the 2.5. We're going to do write mode false because we don't want it to write files. But if we do write mode, it will write the files. But right now, we are happy to have it below. And actually, I'm going to do flash. My flash is alias in my AI pack base is linked to flash 2.5. So that, again, it's what we call the parametric prompt. Yeah? So what is above is what I'm going to talk about. What is below is going to be the answer. So now I say, can you, and I have no clue of blockchain and Web3 and stuff. So can you implement a good simple case Web3 code base for implementing contract with Alchemy? Show the imports in the source file as well. Okay. So the way it works here is now I'm going to press R. So in my VS Code, again, this is geeky, but I have the command R linked into my terminal. So I do command R, or you come here and you say replay. So that will take this and that will load all of the files that we have in our AKO over there. These guys, yeah, the final. Hopefully I put the final because last time. No, I don't want that. Sorry. This is silly because I'm putting everybody. I don't want to put everybody. We did all this hard work to put that. Yeah, I did the same error. So now I can do the same command again. Procoder, boom. Because we did all the whole hard work, yeah? So we don't want to give all of these guys. This one is very small now. So this is what we're going to give. And so that is going to be, and boom, it's already done. Much faster now. And we can see here some information that I'm showing. Duration, 11 seconds, 3 cents, token, 203,000. The back here, and again, we're using Flash, yeah, so it's relatively fast. And then here is show me all the code, the bash code, the JSON code, and then the Solidity code, which is the Web 3.0. And this is very specific. Yeah? There's no way you can ask. I mean, I don't think so. Yeah, and actually, I know the CTO of Alchemy. The ChatGPT doesn't know yet this very specific API. And sometimes even in the Rust community where, I mean, ChatGPT or any AI, yeah, even Claude and everything, they know some versions sometimes, but they know the old ones. And so like you get a lot of work here. And it's the same thing in many other industries. Yeah, sometimes you want, for example, we work in the healthcare for regulatory and stuff. You want the latest one. You don't want to guess what, the cutting date of your AI model is. So the ground is very important. Like controlling the ground of your AI it's the grounding of your AI is very important. And so we have all of this kind of code now, which is very specific into this. And now if I really wanted to be brave here with a procoder, I will do true, and then I will do the same thing. So if I do that, it will probably create the files in the right place. We're not going to run it because I don't have the API key of Alchemy and stuff, but if I do this kind of things, it will start implementing the thing. I will probably in production, honestly, I will use gpro, but here it is. Created the files, the env, this one, the config. Then on the script, I have this guy, and then in the contract, I have the dot. And now I can iterate, I can refactor, and all these kind of things. I can change model if I don't want it. I have Claude mapped to the latest Claude, Sonnet 4. I can do it like this, and everything goes fine. There were a very good chat here about MCP. When you add MCP support, are you intending it to be a tool for your pro coder to enhance a search tool and put it on your own simplified context? The answer is exactly yes. Yeah. So right now I'm working a lot on, there's a lot of interaction. So right now what's happening is we reduce by order of magnitude, yes, 300 or 400 the content. So now one thing which was not possible before, and it will have worked, yeah, because in Google you can still, I don't know actually, 180 megs, I think is over 1 million token. But they have 1 million tokens, but the problem is, and even Claude Sonnet is 200K. Yeah. So actually, what's the limit of Claude Sonnet? So even if you could pass bigger token, you don't want, because you have your own code base and you don't want it to kind of mixing up. To your point here, Mike, is there's a next level things where there's a couple of next level things. One is I want to have procoder understanding LLMS.txt, such as a procoder to say, if you give an LLMS test to txt, it will know how to query it, do a first round with AI, and say, hey, what file do you think I need for this question and this context? Yeah, and that could go to a cheap, fast AI, GPT-4.1 mini or Flash 2.5. And then once we have the list of files, then it will act like this one. It will give the list of files and everything. And because we have this parametric prompt, it can be very efficient. So there's these kind of things, but there's also a kind of services that I want to allow a pack to say, provide me, rather to have knowledge globs, probably to have knowledge MCPs, perhaps something like that. And then you can give you a list of knowledge MCPs, and then it can query them as it goes along. So hopefully I answer your question, Mike. I think Mike had to go. Okay, awesome. But yes, the MCP things, I think, I mean, like everybody, I do think, I can put myself a little bit more in the middle. I do think that the MCP thing is critical for AI workflow and things. So we want to completely embed it into AI Pack, make it extremely easy for agent to call MCPs, and make it, I don't like easy, I like simple, extremely simple for agent to call MCPs. And we want also to make it very simple for any agent to become an MCP service. Because in a way, it doesn't really matter if the tool is deterministic or agentic. It's none of the colors business to know how the thing is implemented in. And then the next step will be agent to agent, but I think we can already do a lot of value with the MCP. So the MCP has a higher priority. We have a question, I think. Mike? Oh, yeah, Mike.
Yeah, I was wondering if you could actually speak a little bit more to agent, how you see that fitting into your AI packs.
Yes. So in the agent to agent, so the first thing here that I'm looking at is going to be the MCP, because I think it does allow to have some of the features of the agent to agent. Because again, the caller doesn't have to know that the query is an agent. And in fact, an agent, and we have seen it in the demo here, I'm going to switch back to the demo, an agent in our world, in the APAC world, the Slim agent doesn't have any agentic step, just some logic step here to crunch the data. Now, agent-to-agent specification allows us to have a more semantics about what is an agent have. They have agent cards and all these kind of things. So the thing I'm thinking, for example, and again, this is kind of the design phase, and we are prioritizing MCP for now. But for example, if I go to the augment over there, you know that they have the concept of cards. So one of the stage could be card. So A2A, I'm going to say A2A card. Yeah, I don't know yet. And that could be either in Lua or could be in JSON or could be in YAML. And so I can have my YAML thing here, and then I can describe my agent. And in a way, the A2A is a very good fit with the AIPAC agent because you describe your agent, you describe the capabilities, and then people can call these agents and all these kind of things. So that is going to be probably the way to add those kind of logic to an agent. Eventually, an agent will also be able to be pure Lua. So AIP, the Markdown file, is kind of the convenient way of doing it. But if you wanted to take the whole control of the definition of an agent with a stage and everything, because you have dynamic instruction, or you will be able to do that as well. So bottom line is I'm going to try to summarize the answer here. We're going to take MCP and not hide, but put agent behind MCP tools, such as the caller doesn't have to know that is an agent. And then later, we're going to implement the A2A, the Google agent-to-agent specification, to allow in a very simple way to say, hey, this augment is my agent. And this is a way that is represented into the agent-to-agent world. And then the agent can call it, can introspect it, and so on. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, I think the way that you package this is really interesting. It's going about it in a way I haven't seen other protocols. So far, it's really interesting.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and I think the click, it was funny because I was working on DevAI before, just for coding kind of workflow. And this multi-stage, what I call this multi-stage agent format here, really kind of click over time. And every time, and I work with Stefan Philippidis, which is a top senior developer as well, and we brainstorm a lot with it. And it's really collapsed a lot of the complexity, yeah? And the whole Lua allows us to, like, for example, in this case, at the beginning, I was like starting this agent, they had all the code inside their Lua code. But in fact, then after, and that is what's happened. Yeah, the thing that's common, you can split it into a rare Lua files. So it's tough. But yeah. And in the metaphors that I always take, yes, is when MacBook Air came up, it was the first MacBook ever, the first laptop ever that we could hold with 2 fingers from the edge. And people say, well, what's the point? Yeah, because that's not the way that we use a laptop. That is true. But the fact that it's become so light and so simple that you can do that you can use it all the days. You have different use cases for a laptop that before we didn't have. Yeah, and now it's very common because even the Windows laptop does that. But I do think that for custom agents, it's the same thing. If we can build something that with 2 fingers on the edge, and I have my custom agent, I have my custom A2A, I have my custom MCP, and I don't have to like spend time and things, and I can reuse packs and so on. Now there's a different set of use cases that were not possible before. So that is a little bit the vision. Roberto say it could have a very robust interface because I imagine some services will be for free while others will use token to accept requests. Yes, exactly. Yeah. And so in many ways, I mean, right now we're at the beginning, we're focusing on the runtime, which is fully open source and truly open source. Our goal is to make sure that people can run it for personal productivity, which we use with gradually team productivity, because the nice things about this AIPAC thing is now when you have your AIPAC folder, for example, I don't know how geeky people are here, but if I go to, this is the code of AIPAC. Yeah. So this is actually, didn't think I was going to go there, but this is a code of AIPAC. And the code and AIPAC is about 28,000 lines of codes. Yeah, with the comments and everything. The point is that the pro coder here that I have is this one and is just mine, and I don't share it with the team because it's just, my prompt and everything. And this is where what I call that lensing. So I lens into my code. I don't want Cursor or Windsurf or super smart, snowboarder or whatever, to say, I know what I'm going to take for your code because I have a super cool kind of things. I want the user of the agent to be able to say that. And to the point before is, I might want to delegate that to the Procoder agent because it's like, hey, I like it. Or I want to have full control of it. And I say, hey, here's my globes, don't be smart. And this is a way that I managed to code things. Here, for example, there's a technique with a Procoder, which is very important when you use AI with any tools. If you can control your prompt ordering, you can save 50, 80% of the cost. Because now even Google support implicit caching. Procoder actually support caching for Claude as well. So if you put things in front, they will be cached. So now, in this case here, I have a clear ordering and working globes is after. So even without concurrency, sometimes I put the working globe because I know I'm going to work on these files, but I want this file in context. That will get cached on the second one. GPT is better at caching, at making sure that it's cached. Gemini, sometimes they cache, sometimes they don't, but eventually they cache. And so you have a big cost saving. And so this is the things where, control does matter for advanced use cases. And the goal is, can we collapse the complexity of control custom agents? So that is a little bit the goal. So I agree that stuff. And the idea here will be eventually to have people being able to deploy their own AI pack. And if they want to have the convenience of running some AI pack or agents inside the AI pack cloud, that is where we can have extra services. But the goal here is, how can we provide as much values as possible in the core runtime? I confess to you that I started to use this not only to code, yes, but also for many other things, like cleaning up files, enriching content and stuff, yes. And in fact, I'm going to show you, okay, if people don't leave, I keep talking. But I'm going to show you something that I built with the iPack, which is not traditional things, but I will show you the workflow. So this is kind of, which I think is a cool visualization of prices and stuff, because the current visualization that I saw on the internet, they are cool, but they are kind of cumbersome to use. They're not, they didn't fit my things. And with AI, we can code little macro apps like that very simply. So I have these things where I coded with AI, with Procoder, with iteration. And I have this animation here, and you can see that things are like turning and everything. And this is not a one-shot, cool Claude or whatever, This was 95% generated by AI, but 90% controlled by me. So I did the first star pass, he did a kind of a very childish one, and then I iterated and I said, put the colors, put the animation. At the beginning, he didn't put the animation, so I have to animate. The center of gravity here, the center of things is not the same as this one when it's horizontal, so he was messing up. But the point is, it's still 95% AI generated. But because I know how to code and these things, those kind of things here iterated very quickly. So when I say, for example, when you have new things coming, I want them to come from behind. And before I say, well, you draw that with Canvas, not SVG, I want Canvas because we know quite a bit about advanced UI, and I say, do the Canvas thing. The problem here is when he did the Canvas things, he didn't know what it means from behind. I mean, kind of knew semantically, I guess, but before they were coming from above, it was weird. That means that you have to know what's coming in, what's coming out, and you have to draw them first, because that is the way Canvas works. So when I gave that in the prompt, it gave an excellent job. If I were going to say, hey, the first, it would have probably be a 10-time iteration kind of things, and I don't know if it would have solved it. So expertise still matters, but I did this application in few hours where it would have taken me like a couple of days spread out and everything to do all of these little details animation. In fact, I wouldn't have done them. Now, to extract the pricing of that I'm going to go back to another things. There's a good question. Can you explain the context globe vs working globes and when to use which one? I will explain that after this one here. So in AI Pack Clear here, the nice things, and this is a way, for example, for code, we work. I like to work with files. I don't work in a web browser. I don't work in chat. I don't work in command line. So the AI pack command line is very minimalistic, replay. And then usually the agent has what they need to create these prompt things. And in fact, if you go to the AI pack, so everything is, we have an AI pack VS Code things, which allows you to create agent nicely. We're going to have a new as well. But if you go to the, to the doc and AI pack labs, you are going to see the source of this one here. This is what we have been demoing today. And then there's an ask pattern here. And the ask pattern is just one agent file, super simple. But it has this kind of pattern of creating a file which becomes a user interface. AI answer below, parametric prompt on top. So this is the only files in a way where you can have a mini coder. Yeah? Now, coder has more because he has to know about code and stuff. But that's it. And again, AI pack doesn't know about the concept of prompt files. Yeah, this is not a thing that he knows. But he has the tools, the APIs to provide that. So in fact, the things which is nice is when you work in the team here, you can say that my .ai pack custom dev is checked inside the repository. Because I want the developers to be able to have access to those things. And like what you were saying, Roberto, here, using AI pack for other things, this is exactly what we did. For example, we had this advanced documentation. So for me, for my doc, I'm a little bit the opposite things of Alchemy and everybody. Markdown is my source of truth. HTML is one of the facade. Yeah, it's not the other way around. And so in my case, I generate this init because, in fact, even the doc of AI pack is a pack. So now in AI Coder, if I wanted, we can do that. Yeah. In AI Coder, in my prompt here, if I wanted, I could say coder prompt. I don't want Alchemy anymore because AI pack is much cooler. So I do a core. So that is pre-built. Doc star.md. And that again is a good point before. That would probably be MCP or something. And then I say, I'm going to remove all of these guys. I don't need them. And I'm going to say, can you create simple hello world agent that take the username as input and ask the AI to have a creative greeting. Yeah? So we do that. And we put our comments here. So the nice things about AI pack is a pack can be referenced like that. Namespace, pack name, and then whatever you want. So it can be knowledge. So this is why they are packs. It's not agent pack or whatever. It's because a pack doesn't have to be agent. Now I go here and I don't have to restart my guy. And I put it in my agent.aip. And then I press run and then boom, it will go there. Or I use Claude. Okay, that's fine. Doesn't matter. And then it will go there. Claude is a little bit slower here. And then boom, I have my agent. Take the username as input, it's exactly what it is, And then, believe me, unfortunately, ChatGPT, Claude doesn't know me yet. It doesn't know AI pack, So that didn't come out of nowhere. It's exactly the way I will do. Very simple. Create a creative and personalized warm welcome. Creating AI response. Oh, we can actually run it. AI pack, run my agent and -i. Sometimes it tells me how. Oh, look at that. -i flag. Tell me. And I'm going to say John Donovan. Mike Donovan, I guess. Up. And that will be this guy, because it's my default. And then I just print it. Hello, John Donovan. Just like a classic novel with a twist. Oh, so creative. So now the things that we see here is that I'm using AI pack to create AI pack. And it's exactly the same thing. AI pack doesn't know about his doc except that he's packing his documentation as a pack. And so when I code Rust, it's the same thing. I have a guy here that is called Rust 10x. So that is my pro. Pro is my namespace. Rust 10x, and I have guide actually. And then it will code my way. But you can do your own pack, or you can put your own pack there. So inside your thing, so what I have here in AI pack CLI is I have my own, so it's getting confused here because that is my AI pack of AI pack. And so I have my own things. And so for pricing, what I have is I have one that go and download the pricing for all of this website, because every website has a different way of doing stuff. So this one here, so I have an MCP server that give me Markdown out of things that would be integrated. So many of the things has to go through Puppeteer, because they are client rendered. So calls client renders and things. And so we have a call for HTTP post. And then, so you can do HTTP post or get in AI pack. So I can integrate with any MCP. So I get the raw HTML. And then when I have the raw HTML, I put it in Markdown. And when I have in Markdown, then I do the pricing. And that is what I use for the UIs that you have seen here, where we have all of this pricing. So that is what I use for this fancy guy here. So all of this pricing stuff. And this is what I also use for the pricing data, because then after I have another in my AI pack dev pricing GenRS. And so the GenRS is going to look at the pricing JSON that I downloaded. And then I have, so this is nothing as code. Yeah, it's mostly prompt. But then it allows me to take the JSON and then very precisely say, hey, can you update this file, which is in my source here? Where's pricing data? That file. And so it updates this file. So I don't have to write, I could ask AI to write a parser and stuff and to generate that programmatically. But I can ask it to do it. And the nice things about that is that in my prompt here, generate, I say, hey, when this preview and things, remove them. I don't want them. For pricing, it doesn't help. Yeah, it's actually counterproductive. And then this guy here, also this guy, and all these kind of things. So my point is that exactly as you say, Roberto, I'm using AI quite a bit outside of just code. This is a demo that we did today. Yeah, it's outside of coding. Any other question? Can you explain the difference between context globe and things? Yeah, so someone wanted to go in ProCoder. That's good. The difference between context globes and working globes. So knowledge globes is in the prompt of coder, say, hey, here's your knowledge. The user will ask you stuff. I will ask you stuff because I put it as a user. This is your base knowledge. Yeah. So usually the AI is clear that it's not about updating these files. Context globes is working files in a way. And then often you give them as to say, hey, here's the files that I want to work on. Now, if you know that you want to work only on some files, what I do is I put the context globes over there, the thing I want. And so when I code Rust, for example, in Rust and other languages, there's other stuff. But main, mode, and error gives a lot of information. And they are very cheap to give. So I give them in globes. And then I give my script. So for this task here, this is what I needed. And then because I needed to iterate, and I just wanted to write on file command, I wanted to start benefiting of the caching. So the way to benefit from the caching in this case is I put it in working globes. And so now in the prompt, I can say, hey, in the working globe files, or even if I say file command or whatever, it will just change this one. And so that will guarantee that will get first in my prompt of ProCoder. And that will make it cache. And again, you can save like 50, 70%, yeah, of your thing. Now, the structure globe is another technique to save, to give big context with low volume in a way. And that will just give the whole list of these files that match these globes without giving the content. And so that for the AI, what we found out is that helps a lot the AI to understand the size of the scope of the project. And then sometimes you say, hey, you don't have everything. So don't start changing things that you don't know. Yeah, because sometimes AI takes some liberty here. So that is one of these technique stuff. Again, it would be very hard for cursor and stuff. They're cool, yeah, but it's not really, they're trying to do a stretch from vibe coding to production coding. For me, it's a little bit a hard stretch, and I'm not sure. I understand from a marketing standpoint, it's the right strategy. I'm not sure about my marketing strategy, but I'm sure about my value strategy in a way. And so the working globes that. Now, where the working globes get super interesting, and then I'm using it, it's game changer. Yeah, and good luck to do that with any other guys. Let's say that I want all of the script, and I want to extract all of the documentation. Yeah, I want to say, hey, can you take all of my script files and just remove the documentation? I don't want the function body and everything, but just remove the stuff or whatever. I could go one by one, yes? And if I didn't put concurrency, everything will be put inside. Now what I can do is to say, hey, working concurrency, input concurrency to 6. And now because the AI pack supports concurrency and everything, now ProCoder is coded in a way to support that. And now what I can do, I'm going to use Flash for this guy. And I'm going to be a little bit brave on that. This is something I'm not proud of, is to put the API keys over there. Then I'm going to say, for all of the AI pack files, guys, can you extract documentation only and add it to and save it to, we're going to say .doc, because it's a doc demo, yeah, and then name normalized.md, where file name normalized is the path file name with slash replaced by dash. Yeah, I'm going to flatten them. Just a silly demo. Yeah, AIP run pro coder. Being brave here, press enter. Something is it should have done. So usually when you do that, this is it should have created the. Oh no, it created it is that. Oh yeah, no, I'm sorry. It doesn't print. I was expecting to print all the things, but the pro coder is taking the whole thing, and then that's it. It's created in parallel. Boom, get it. I have all the files here. And obviously I didn't prompt the way I wanted it and so on. But that is a way I can say, hey, look at all these files in parallel, bring that. So sometimes what I do is I do that for all the files, and then I have another prompt in the procoder that say, hey, take all these files, I put them in the context, and then create a summary files. And then only with procoder, I can do a lot of these kind of things. And then if I really want to automate, I create my own custom agents. This is a little bit my workflow. Concurrency is false. Oh, you're right. That's silly. Sorry, I didn't. Someone say concurrency is false. So it was too fast. A flash is too fast. Okay, so now we do this, and we do procoder. Boom. Now it's better. Okay, I was getting confused. And so now it's all the concurrency. We say 6, and if we go doc demo, and then somehow, oh yeah. Okay. So in this case, yeah, it's tricky. In the previous case, so this is one is interesting. In the previous case, it was faster in a way because we sent the whole thing at once, and then it created the whole thing. And for that use case, somehow it was simpler, yeah, because we didn't have a big code base. The AIP files is not that big. And so this one is sending one file at a time, plus the generic context that we had before. So that's why it's taking a little bit longer to create it. So it's counterintuitive on this one, but in many of my use cases, I use a parallel. I often use a parallel things when I do these kind of things. Okay, so I'm going to stop it. We don't really need to run it. Yeah, so the question here is another thing that Lua has already integrated HTML and Markdown. So that's not really Lua, it's part of AI Pack APIs exposed to Lua to do that. I am interested in PDF text, and yes, but PDF is another Pandora box. Extracting flat text from PDF is not too hard, kind of, but often flat text is not what you want. You want to keep the structure. If you extract flat text only, you sometimes even spaces, you lose that spaces are lost and everything. It gets a little bit crazy. So sometimes when you do PDF to text, it requires another big thing, sometimes with AI and things. So I think that for the PDF to text, something might be one of the first MCP tools that we'll integrate with. And we try to find a good one in a Docker image, and then we'll integrate with that, such as it can get kind of a pretty good quality without us trying to reinvent this big beast, because this one is a big one. So hopefully I answered the question. Seth, very cool demo. Thank you. Okay, so I think with that, this was a pretty long session, but it was very good. If you have any questions, feel free to ask either on LinkedIn, on Discord, or send me an email. jeremy.sean@aipack.ai. And then we're going to have more webinars. So feel free to add comment and let me know which kind of topic you would like to see in the next AI Pack webinars. It will be very interested to learn about those. Any use case you might think of, I will make sure to look at them and to see if we can do a cool demo about it. Okay. Thanks a lot, everybody. And see you at the next one.